We all dream of grasping the opportunity to travel to unbelievably stunning landmarks across the globe. Experience most can't even fathom lie in these incredible places. Corporal E4 Jacobs was able to serve his country while also enduring one of the greatest adventures one could ever hope for in a lifetime. Randall Jacobs was born in Reading, Pennsylvania, with his parents being John William Jacobs and Peggy Lou Jacobs, who were a bus driver and a stay-at-home mother, respectively. Jacobs also had siblings, James W. Jacobs, who was United States Navy, and another brother, Robert William Jacobs, who went to the Coast Guard in 1979, and he also had a sister, Chrissa Ann Jacobs, who was a registered nurse. His last sibling was David Lee Jacobs, and he did not serve in the military. Jacobs decided to enlist in the military after having a conversation with his older brother, where they both went to the armed forces with mixed support from his family. Jacobs never went into Vietnam during his time in the service, however. Since Jacobs went to the service during high school, he did the ending part of his high school career years in the military, which he completed even though it was complicated as a regular high school. During Jacobs' time in the service, he was stationed in Heilbronn, Germany, and was a vehicle mechanic, also known as a 63 Bravo 20, and was part of the 22nd Maintenance Coalition. When Jacobs went into the service, he had to leave much of his family behind, which included his father, his mother, his siblings, and his dogs. Some of Jacobs' friends back home didn't understand his decision, but he would consider his decision to join the service the best decision of his life when he looks back at it. Jacobs decided to join the army since he wanted to see the world but didn't have enjoyment towards ships and wanted to keep his feet on the ground. After Jacobs was done with the process of enlisting and starting his military journey, he headed to basic training, where soldiers would get torn down and built into what they needed to be. Basic training consisted of a lot of marching, discipline, teamwork, and just learning to follow and obey orders. Even though there are numerous hardships that come with basic training, Jacobs was still able to find a positive in all of the yelling, stomping, and constant sounds of men out of breath and the constant hardships of basic training. In basic training, Jacobs was able to meet many different people from all over the United States. He mentioned that he had a fun time with them, and he's even still friends with some of the people he met there today. This shows the true bonds that can be made during people's times in the service. During Jacobs' time in the service, he was stationed in Heilbronn, Germany, and was a vehicle mechanic, also known as a 63 Bravo 20, and was a part of the 22nd Maintenance Coalition. Jacobs had many important recollections of his time in Germany, but one that really seemed to make an impact on him were the friends he made during his time there. Jacobs was fortunate enough to not be in any intense or brutal combat, although he did perform maneuvers which were simulations of combat that dealt with numerous field experiences to prepare him if it ever came to that point. Jacobs was put in a position where firearms were almost part of his everyday life. One of his jobs was to go out and shoot firearms in order to maintain the equipment. He mentioned that he enjoyed repairing firearms and had a little something extra to add in.
Did you enjoy repairing firearms?
Yes, it was taught me a lot. Nobody in my family when I grew up was ever into guns or hunting or anything like that. So that was my initiation into firearms, and I kind of took to it. And to this day, I still am very heavy into to firearms, with the hunting and everything like that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, as you may know, many veterans miss their families at home while they're serving their country. Jacob's way of communicating with the folks back home was mainly by letter and occasionally the telephone. He was given the opportunity to call home about once or twice per year. Jacob's brother, who was also enlisted in the military, would correspond via letter all the time while they were both in the service. This joyful experience that Jacobs took part in was one of the many great things that happened during his time in Germany. He enjoyed seeing the breathtaking landscapes that Heilbronn, Germany had to offer, so much that he took part in about 40 or 50 of these fascinating and joyful events. Jacobs mentioned a few more incredible things that he was able to experience while explaining what he believed to be the best part of his entire service in the military.
The best part would be once I got to my permanent duty station in Germany. And I can't single out one particular thing because everything was kind of mixed together. It's like, here I am, a 17 going on 18-year-old kid, I'm stationed in Germany by myself with a company, I'm in the service and stuff, but we did have freedom. And again, I got to see all of Europe, you know, in a 3-year period. I never came home for leave, stayed over there the whole time, took all my leave and vacation in that area. So I got to see Italy, Spain, France, England, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Austria, Switzerland, all those places, you know, and I got to see the Iron Curtain before it was torn out. You know, we actually got to stand on the border of Czechoslovakia and see the Iron Curtain.
Got to check off some bucket list stuff.
I wouldn't mind going back again.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't, but.
Fun events aside, Jacobs did have some personal goals and requirements that he wanted to achieve or fulfill in his time serving his country. One of these goals was to reach the rank of E4. The E4 rank requires a soldier to fill a leadership role and achieve a higher rank than the specialist. The E4 rank is actually the highest rank possible for junior enlisted recruits, and Jacobs ended up achieving this particular goal. Jacobs also earned a marksmanship medal at a training academy in Stuttgart, Germany. Another goal that Jacobs wanted to accomplish was one that most boys want to be able to fulfill, and this was going in a boy and coming out a man. Jacobs explained how he hoped to fulfill this goal of going in as a 17-year-old boy and coming back out a man. According to his mother, he achieved that goal. On November 11th, 1977, Jacobs was discharged. He was given a big farewell party 2 days before he left, where the whole department got together and celebrated Jacobs' time with them in Germany and fully appreciated his time. Normally you would think that after being away from your home for such a long period of time, that things would change while you were gone. In Jacobs' case, that didn't happen. He explained the ironic situation of how when he came home, nothing had changed, and everyone was still doing the same thing since the day he left. With this being said, Jacobs appreciated his service much more because of the fact that if he would have just stayed home, he would have been stuck doing what everyone else was, and he would have missed a whole different world. Jacobs felt more opened up. Even though he feels that he's experienced a lot in the 3 years he was in the service, coming home and seeing that his friends haven't experienced anything was a difficult thought to grab hold of. And when he would mention his experiences, his friends just couldn't understand why he went out and did what he did. Of course, this does not separate Jacobs and his friends. It was just simply what seemed to be a stunning situation for Jacobs. When Jacobs returned home, he was welcomed by his family, who were ecstatic that he was finally home, and filled with gratefulness and joy that he was given the ability to come back. He decided to take a little time for himself by spending time with family and also traveling to a few different states in order to touch base with a few friends that were discharged before he was. Naturally, we as humans are changed by our experiences, whether that be for better or worse. In Randall's case, it was for the better. Randall mentioned that he became more mature, organized, and disciplined, and that he had newly equipped abilities to have foresight into what his surroundings are. One of the most important pieces of knowledge that you can receive from an experience like this is mentioned by Jacobs when he is asked the question, "How did the service affect the way you relate to others?"
I think what it does is the service allows you the opportunity to see a bunch of different people with a bunch of different backgrounds. You know, whether it's geographic backgrounds, moral backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, whatever. But it opens your eyes up and gives you the opportunity not to judge anybody on what they are. But based on a person, you can judge them that way. But it allows you to open up and be able to see people in a whole different light than I used to use the term tunnel vision. You know, you see somebody, you make a determination right away. Don't do that anymore. I mean, it's just, you can just talk to people and find out more about them and see what's going on.
A final message that Jacobs left was that if there's any young people out there that are not quite sure where they want to go or what they want to do, or if they're undecided on which direction they want to go in life, any of the military branches are the great way to open up opportunities to be disciplined, and given the ability to gain leadership knowledge will most certainly help push you in the right direction. Thank you for your service, Randy Jacobs.